It's a growing phenomenon among teens, and some parents don't even know about it.
What is it?
It's called sexting.
It's usually 11 to 17-year-olds sending explicit photos of themselves to one another.
All via text message, and the trend has taken over U.S. headlines. In Oregon, a 17-year-old girl is facing prison time for recording another teen having sex. In Massachusetts, 3 junior high school students were caught distributing a sex video via cell phone. And in New Jersey, a 14-year-old girl is facing distribution of child pornography charges for posting nude pictures of herself on MySpace. But perhaps the worst case of teenage sexting is that of Ohio teen Jessica Logan, who sent nude pictures to her boyfriend. When they broke up, he sent it to hundreds of classmates, ultimately leading Jessica to commit suicide. And while this is a tragic outcome, it isn't unique here in the Valley.
Well, I have a friend that bought a phone from another friend, and it had a sex video in it. And let's say he watched it.
There have been several cases, but so far only one has been prosecuted.
The only sexting case that we've had here is actually from an adult sending pictures to a juvenile.
Joseph Andrew Sadler, a former Port Isabel high school teacher, pled guilty to sending sexual pictures of himself to a 14-year-old student via cell phone. Sadler was convicted of injury to a child, marked as a sex offender, and forced to give up his teaching rights. Jeremy, a local teen, says kids here know all about sexting, but don't see it as a crime. Instead, they think it's funny.
Like, hey, maybe check this girl out, you know, I was with her or something like that, you know, they're just playing around.
17-year-old Gabby Martinez agrees, saying the old-fashioned love note is out and racy texts to hook up are in.
I think I've heard of it being like, it's just funny, like, oh, I text this guy, ha ha ha, this, like teasing.
So is it innocent flirting or a criminal felony? Training director for the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, Lyndall Williams, believes there's a fine line.
Playing a very dangerous game because as it stands right now, each local prosecutor has their opinion on how they want to handle this.
But currently, there's no specific law against sexting.
The main charge and probably the most severe to anyone that would be involved in that is that you actually could be charged with a child pornography charge.
Charges could also multiply.
If they send to one person by cell phone, that's one charge. If they send it by internet, that's another charge.
Easily landing them up to 20 years if convicted. Williams says most kids don't understand the severity of the consequences.
This has the potential to be far greater than any kind of alcohol issue. The kid is just getting drunk. You know, a public intoxication charge is a far cry from disseminating child pornography.
Since the issue is so new, schools and law enforcement are juggling on how to handle sexters. In Ohio and Vermont, legislators are proposing a bill that would make it a misdemeanor and spare minors from being labeled as sex offenders. But locally, Cameron County District Attorney Armando Villalobos is skeptical about the modification.
I wouldn't be an advocate for changing things to spur the moment like that.
The DA says it's a case-by-case situation that should determine the punishment.
If you outlaw something completely or you take away the community's ability to react, then you create a situation where you get a case that should have been prosecuted that severely, but you can't.
Williams says even worse.
If we start creating loopholes in the law for these kids, then are we creating loopholes for adult offenders as well?
We asked parents how they feel about sexting.
If they're to a certain age right now, I wouldn't be okay. That wouldn't be okay with me, because they're too young.
Scary. I think teenagers and younger children don't realize what they're doing when they're texting this way.
But what exactly prompts some teens to do this? Gabby thinks it may be a self-esteem issue.
They're just like insecure, and I guess they want to feel like a guy actually wants them.
And although many teens may find sexting cool, what's not, even for some, is going to jail for it.
It's stupid. Well, it's stupid to go to jail for sending a sex text. You know, why would you want to go to jail for that?